Alright, new patch. Let's talk about it a little bit quickly. I mean, it's a short one, right? Patch 25.13 MSI patch. So actually the MSI patch was actually 25.12. The patch we're playing right now. I think the reason why Riot changed up this year and basically did MSI patch a patch before MSI patch is to have an additional patch where in case they would fuck up something in the balance, they would be able to like rebalance it, I guess. Pretty short list. We're mostly happy with the meta, where the meta is at, given that a bunch of champions are pretty C-lined on solo queue power, and we're seeing a pretty good amount of diversity. Mundo has been picked up a lot of attention recently, and while he wins in a rather frustrating manner sometimes, his actual performance metrics aren't quite following along. Yes, we're waiting a bit longer to actually see where this ends up. Certainly there are tons of new players playing him, thanks to all the fun videos about him, but not enough to tank his win rate to this degree, given that his mastery curve is rather shallow. Okay. So they don't see the point of nerfing Mundo yet. I honestly don't think Mundo deserves a nerf. I think the problem with Mundo is just the gameplay. The gameplay of walking up the tower, demolishing it, and walking back and healing to full. That is, I think, where the issue relies on Mundo, not necessarily the champion strength. I think it's fair if they want to wait longer, right? People, like a lot of new players, are picking up Mundo, and his win rate actually went down as well because of that. But okay, I mean, fair enough. I honestly think it's probably okay to wait another patch. Buffs. Our buffs to jungle Nidalee didn't quite pan out, looking for a bit more of a buff to her as a result. Okay, this is fair. They gave Nidalee E-AP ratio increase, which was like mostly a placebo buff, and yeah, they're scared of buffing top lane Nidalee. So they have to kind of give AP ratio buffs. So I'm expecting another like AP ratio buff most likely to Nidalee. GP is looking a bit weak even for his mastery curve. Okay. This seems also completely understandable to me. I think I'm actually not sure where exactly they're gonna buff GP, but I would give him more durability. I personally think GP dies too fast for a melee champion. That's kind of like where I would be looking to buff GP. With our Jax buffs in 0.12, looking to also open him up as more of a viable pick there. Huh? Is there a Jax change? Okay, I don't know what this means. Ramos has landed a bit weaker than we wanted. In terms of pattern, it's landed mostly reasonable. He just needs the numbers to back it up. So for once, I'm actually happy that a mini rework didn't end up being insanely overpowered, because I remember when Riot reworked Naafiri and Yorick, they ended up being very OP. So for once, I'm actually kind of happy that the champ landed weak. Nerfs. Ryze is looking a bit too unassailable on current tuning, especially after we nerfed a lot of his competition in 25.12. So they're saying they nerfed Azir, Ahri, and Talia. It is true that this is Ryze's competition, but okay, sure, I get that. We're not looking for a major nerf here, just a small tap down. So this is maybe a little bit of a hot take, but my personal take is that Ryze is actually weak, and I actually expected him to be buffed, not nerfed. If you look at his solo queue win rate, he's actually doing worse than before Raw got nerfed. He used to have a much higher win rate for pretty much like 1 to 2 years straight, and Raw didn't do anything about it. So win rate wise, he's actually performing worse. I think the reason why they might think it's better is because of pro play, because they specifically buffed early game Ryze, which is the only thing pro players care about. Specifically, I would say from level 6 to 10, because that's where the ult buff came through. He's a lot stronger in trading, he can gain priority a lot faster, and then that unlocks his ultimate in pro play a lot better than it does in solo queue. What I think Riot should do is I think Riot should nerf Ryze's early game and buff his late game, because I think the champion sucks late game. Or like sucks, he's just not a good late game, in my opinion. So that's what I'm hoping they're doing, but it says it's a small tap down. I think Riot has a really good opportunity here to just make his early game worse, revert some of the buffs they did last patch, make his late game better. TF has gotten a big bump from his 0.12 changes. He's been pretty good in solo queue, especially with Ludens and Rocket Belt builds that are more performant. So okay, this is very important, and I agree with this. Rocket Belt is better than Roa. Majority of Twisted Blade players are building Roa. It's wrong. But a lot of champs are like this. For example, Ahri. Ahri, like, let me tell you about Ahri. Ahri right now is a negative win rate mid laner in solo queue. Is she actually negative win rate if people build her correctly? No. If people just build Malignance into a haste item second, instead of Roa and Lianji and whatever the fuck people do, and if people would just max E second instead of W, her win rate is actually positive. But until people do that, her win rate gets dragged down. And it's kind of similar here with TF as well. People are bad at building correctly. I do think Twisted Fate was completely overbuffed last patch. And what I'm hoping happens is, I am hoping Twisted Fate, they revert the ultimate CD buff that they did. I think his ultimate should never be 20 seconds, I think, lower rank 1. I just hope they revert that, and then he's probably a little bit better. More balanceable. Given that we want to pull it back a little bit, don't think he needs such a big buff to be viable for competitive. I agree, I think his solo queue unit is absurd right now, he's just free on solo queue, so yeah. Anyway, champ buffs, so Fiddlesticks. Here, I think I'm mostly expecting a AP jungle type of buff. They're gonna buff a AP ratio somewhere because I think Riot is hopefully cautious about buffing Fiddlesticks support too much. But in general, I'm not happy with Fiddlesticks. I think, especially like top lane Fiddlesticks, like I still don't know why that's in the game. That shit should be removed from the game. Gangplank, I think deserved. Aurelia, I also think deserved. Aurelia is too weak. Just descales too quickly for her early game power, and she needs to be played perfectly. Kindred, okay, sure. Nidalee, sure. Ramos, okay, sure. Champ nerfs, Ryze, TF, okay. I mean, Ryze I don't agree with. Twisted Fate, yes. Vi. So, okay, Vi. Why is Vi getting nerfed? So the reason why Vi is getting nerfed is very simple. Last patch, Riot made W max Ryze Wars, Vi Wars, and E max Vi second. W max Vi second was always better than E max Vi second. It's still better right now. But vast majority of solo queue players did E max second instead of W, which resulted in Vi win rate being lower. So what Riot did last patch is they buffed E max second, nerfed W max second, and Vi's win rate went up, even though the champion in theory is nerfed. So that's why they're nerfing Vi now, because her win rate is up for vast majority of players. But for pro players and high-low players specifically, who know how to max her properly, she's nerfed. And then Yorick. This is also a good nerf. Yorick is, yeah, fucking dumb design. I don't even know what they should nerf in Yorick. Honestly, just nerf any stat. It's just a stat checker. Honestly, now that I think about it, I hope it's a good... Like, I have a big problem with Yorick ghouls. I think that's the most annoying part for me. It's not even the maiden. It's not the W. It's not the E. It's not the Q. I think it's the ghouls, honestly. The ghouls are somehow just stronger than champions sometimes. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a clip or like a game where in Lost Zone Screams, Reckless was getting chased down in mid to late game by Yorick ghouls and Rel, and he got solo killed by them. Like, what the fuck is that shit? They need to nerf the ghouls, man. They're literally like 50 times stronger than Mazaher Voidings and Hammer Towers and, I don't know, any pet in the game. The ghouls are literally stronger than any Tibers and Iron Daisy. Like, what is this? This is insane. You can't kill them now with one auto attack? Yeah, they're too tanky. Or they do too much damage, it's either. Show clip. I don't have it, sadly, I don't remember when it was. Anyway, that's the patch. Small patch. Probably not gonna do anything. I think most of the changes are gonna be placebo. I think Fiddle will not have any impact in Pro. Gangplank will probably not have impact in Pro. Aurelia will not have impact in Pro. Kindred maybe slightly. Nidalee maybe slightly. Ramos no impact probably. Ryze nerf will have a slight impact in Pro, and Twisted Fate nerf will also have an impact in Pro. Vi, maybe it's gonna have an impact in Pro. I guess it will. And then Yorick, maybe also some. I think the nerf list is maybe a bit more important here than the buff list, because I think the buffs here are gonna be placebo. You already know they're not gonna give GP even 1% win rate probably. Riot Games balanced him. It's like Bausat. Bausat that Riot balances with ChatGPT. Should I be completely honest? I don't agree with Baus on his take. Baus has a take that League is too balanced, and that he misses the times where things are not OP enough. But I don't agree with this take. I think the game being more balanced is a lot better than things being too OP. Because if the situation was reversed and things would be too OP, people would complain that things are too OP. Now, if you look at Baus's perspective right now, Baus says that there's a lineup of champions on top lane that are demon, right? He says, what are the champs? He says like Shen, Yorick, Gwen, there's like 2 more, Jace, and Rumble, right? Those 5. Baus thinks that those 5 champions are way too OP. So following his logic, he should want the game to be more balanced with ChatGPT. I don't agree. Like, if I had to choose between the game being very balanced or the game having a lot of OP stuff, I would choose the balanced one for sure.